In Iron Man Viva Las Vegas, we find ourselves on the bank of the rising Yangtze as two explorers have been paid to exhume a relic from these ancient ruins. As they make their way inside, they observe lines of foe that were meant to protect the outside world from the spirits within the temple. As they make their way to the bottom, they find what they're looking for in the form of the golden dragon. But elsewhere, somewhere over the Mediterranean, as Stark sits with his secretary, she wonders why they didn't take one of Stark's private planes. But as a man with a bomb strapped to himself comes out the back, it becomes immediately apparent why Stark is here. Stark retires to the restroom to freshen up before coming back as Iron Man. Iron Man grabs the terrorist and flies through the hole of the plane. Now this guy detonated the bomb in an attempt to take Iron Man with him, but Stark says that was ill-advised as obviously Iron Man is still here. Now obviously, since Stark flew through the hole of the plane, the entire plane decompresses and fills with fog. But Iron Man tells everybody this is a Stark 797 and the integrity is not compromised. Nevertheless, people are pissed off anyway that he flew through the hole of the plane. Stark flies away as he needs a vacation, heading towards Las Vegas. Upon arriving in Las Vegas, Tony would hit Stark Casino, where he would meet two lovely ladies. He would invite them back to his suite for a tattoo counting contest. But elsewhere, the golden dragon has been exhumed and the statue is being put together at a casino on the Strip. The statue is supposed to be the center of attention for the grand opening tomorrow. But deep in the desert, hundreds of thousands of lizards seem to be making their way towards the Las Vegas Strip. But back in Tony's suite, as he's getting a little closer with the ladies, they were actually hoping to meet Iron Man. But while Tony is dealing with that, lizards invade all corners of the Strip, from the streets all the way to Stark Casino. Now as Tony is in bed with these ladies, he receives a call from his secretary Pepper as there's a matter that requires his immediate attention. Pepper apologizes for interrupting his me time, but there appears to be a lizard plague that's taking over Vegas. But elsewhere, at the Golden Dragon Casino, the eyes of the Golden Dragon glow ominously. Later, as Tony and Pepper talk about the reptilian plague that seems to be befalling Las Vegas, Pepper tells Tony of someone that's here to meet him, someone that may be seeking a sponsor. At first, Tony tries to get out of it, but upon laying eyes on that someone, Tony immediately introduces himself to Elsa Bloodstone as he tells Pepper to prepare a table upstairs. Now, Elsa wasn't really here for dinner, but Tony moves quick. Elsa tells Tony she needs his help as she thinks she is the cause of the lizard plague. She explains how she was commissioned to exhume a sculpture from a tomb. She gives Tony some hieroglyphs that read, "Vermin will teem, the mighty one will awaken, and finally, the great chieftains will rise from their graves." Now Tony is like, what the fuck? That wasn't an ominous enough warning for you? But in Elsa's line of work, as a rule, she's not as superstitious. She explains to Tony about the sculpture she exhumed, the sculpture that is the Golden Dragon. Apparently it's being shown off tonight as it's the grand opening, and Tony tells Elsa he can get her in as his date, of course. Now Elsa doesn't have the attire, but Tony can take care of that. Tony gets her fitted with an expensive gown and some $300,000 jewelry. Now Elsa says she doesn't need the jewelry, but Tony says consider it a loan, just return it at breakfast. Later that night, as Tony and Elsa would arrive, paparazzi would take several photos of them walking in. At the grand opening of the Golden Dragon Casino, they present the statue that is the Golden Dragon. Now Elsa can't see the hieroglyphs engraved at the bottom of the statue, but that's not a problem as Tony gives her a camera in the form of the Stark 1000. The rest of the inscription reads, "Those whose limbs shatter mountains and whose back scrapes the sun. No place on earth will give you safety, mortals, when Fing Fang Foom strikes." Now the golden dragon comes alive in the form of Fing Fang Foom. And as the dragon starts tearing shit up, Stark prepares to mobilize as he's met Fing Fang Foom before. Fing Fang Foom sprays the area with fire as several law enforcement attempt to shoot him to no avail. As the news chopper moves in to get a shot, Fing Fang Foom knocks that shit right out the sky. Stark heads to the nearest motel and grabs a room. He then proceeds to pull out his briefcase to mobilize his Iron Man suit. As Fing Fang Foom tears through the city, he tears through a roller coaster, but luckily, Iron Man is able to catch the passengers. Iron Man sets the people down, and then he prepares to confront Fing Fang Foom. Iron Man tells him no one comes into his house and pushes him around, as Fing Fang Foom prepares to face off with Iron Man once again. To be continued.